Welcome back to Adobe Illustrator CC. In this tutorial we're going to cover the eraser tool and the hidden tools underneath, which are the scissors tool and the knife tool. So to access these tools, all you got to do is hover over one of whichever tool is currently available, mouse down, click on your mouse, hold it down, and go out to the tear out bar. Once you click on that, you'll have them released. So in order to demonstrate these properly, I'm going to draw out a few objects. I'm going to draw out some shapes here first. Let's give it a fill of some sort of color, maybe some of the colors not quite so strong, maybe orange or green, something like that. And then I will draw out a couple of strokes here. And let's start at it. So the eraser tool, the way it works, you can use your bracket key, so right bracket or left bracket, to increase or decrease the size. Now right now, nothing on the stage is selected, so when I draw through here, you'll notice it erases everything. So I'm going to hit Control Z or Command Z on the Mac. This is a very important feature because say I have this shape selected and I go back to the eraser tool, which has the hotkey of Shift E, and I go down here to erase, you'll notice that these guys, I keep trying to erase these strokes and nothing happens. But if I come over and erase the shape here, it is erased. So it's based upon whether or not you have something selected or nothing at all. If you have nothing selected, this tool will utilize and erase basically everything. And if you have a certain shape selected, basically you can only erase that one. So you can, it's very useful, especially if you're in isolation mode. For example, let me draw another rectangle here and change its color. So say I wanted to erase just the green rectangle, which is behind the yellow. I can double click on it, pull it out in isolation mode, use the eraser tool, increase the size of my brush by again using the right bracket or left bracket to reduce. So maybe I click here and I don't know, click here. And if I want to, I could also hold the Shift key while erasing to create like straight edge lines. So if I want to make like a gutter, you can kind of do that. So you can basically draw out different angles. I can go straight down. Diagonal kind of works, but some you notice here it didn't quite work, so sometimes it's not exactly perfect. But then when I double click out, you'll notice that nothing has ever happened to this rectangle in front. So if I move it out of the way, you'll see that all those things have been changed on that one shape, which is pretty cool. So let's see how the next tool works, the scissors tool. So scissors tool is basically for cutting up actual paths. So you wouldn't use it to erase the rectangle, for example. What you could do is click and basically mark off a couple of these paths and remove it, which would basically give you a corner of the shape here. So if you want to break it up that way, you could, but typically it's used for breaking up paths used by the pen tool or paintbrush tool. So if I click here and click here, come back with my black arrow, you'll see I now have 3 separate paths pretty much wherever I click. The only thing you have to be careful of with this is if you get to the end, it'll say no, you can't break here because this is the end point. So just realize that. The last tool, the knife tool, which is really fun. The way it works, you basically can draw unique designs into your shape. So I'm going to select this rectangle to make sure it's isolated. Click on the knife tool and basically draw out any cool little shape. Think of it kind of like a cookie cutter, basically. So now as I end here, I can double click out and isolate and pull that little piece out, which is pretty cool. So let me give you one warning about this shape. Let me draw another one here, change its color, maybe to something like this dark red. When you're working with this tool, if you draw out some interesting shape, but you don't go all the way across, meaning across the path there on the end, you won't physically be able to take out the shape. You'll notice here as I double click, nothing's really happening because that little piece has been taken away. Now I can come back with the knife tool and try and finish that off, and then use my black arrow, but quite often that won't work. So what I like to do is just undo a couple times by hitting Control Z or Command Z on the Mac and do it the proper way, which is to draw all the way through the path of the shape that you're trying to cut out. But you can see you can create the most amazing shapes just by doing that. Double click, isolate, and then double click out. So now you have these smaller shapes and this other shape here. So that's basically covering the whole trio: the eraser tool, the scissors tool, and the knife tool. So we'll see you soon in Illustrator CC. Until next time, cheers.